Yeah. Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit and ask you a little bit more business type question.
Okay.
So, so you operate mainly in Asia, right? Your business is so like
100%.
Singapore,
Yeah.
Singapore, Thailand, Dubai, Myanmar.
Singapore,
Yeah. So I think Singapore, does it have a minimum wage? Do you know?
Yeah, sure.
It has minimum
There's a
wage.
minimum
Okay.
wage, yeah.
Right. So in New Zealand also have minimum wage. So what do you think about minimum wage? Because as a startup, you need to employ people, right? So how does it? What do you think is the impact for startups
Yeah.
for minimum wage? What's the impact? What do you think?
Yeah, for the startup, like, sometimes we have to break the laws, like rules, because, okay.
Well, we don't advocate it, just on the record.
Yeah, sure. Because I think this podcast may help someone. So I think
definitely.
we have to say very transparent.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to break the laws and rules. Okay.
Well, we don't break the law. We go around it. Now it's within the law.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think for the startup, the team you have to be the same goal. That's it. So maybe sometimes, even not for the startup, even right now, a lot of big companies in Thailand, like, for example, like MQDC, this is one of the top developers who is the owner of the CP. But right now, they cannot pay the salary regularly.
Right.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
Even they are the number one richest company in Thailand, but they cannot give even the minimum wage. They have to postpone the salary like this.
Right.
So every situation will happen. But the main thing is like minimum wage. Of course, sometimes, you can pay minimum wage or you will less higher. This is one option.
Yeah.
Another one, okay, if you agree, we'll go to the same target, and after future, you will get some kinds of benefits like that.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the question really is, the governments around the world who have minimum wage, they are saying they are helping those employees by having minimum wage so they can prevent people from being exploited.
Yeah, sure.
But if a startup, say in New Zealand, I think $20 an hour minimum wage, if a startup cannot afford $20 an hour, but can only afford, say, $10 an hour, and the person who want to work also agreed to work with $10 an hour on their own free will, I mean, both of them. But the government say you can't employ the people.
Okay.
You can't employ the person. That person agreed to work. The employer agreed to pay, and the government say you can't work with the company, or the company cannot employ. So how does it helping the employee with their policy?
I think they can still shake the hand. Like,
definitely. No, it's fine. Yes, but then you turn into some illegal areas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you're putting yourself and your business at risk. But what is really so what I want to dig in is when government do policy, they say something, and then the effect is another thing.
Sure.
So the effect is somebody who is jobless can earn $10 an hour, but because of the policy, he cannot earn anything. He has to wait until somebody gives him $20 an hour, right? Sure. So that's one effect. The second effect is you're making the startup unable to grow.
Okay.
So, if you're Microsoft, you can pay $20 an hour. That's easy, right? So it's almost like gatekeeping for the startup to become competition to the big companies.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're helping the big company, not actually employee or the startup.
Yeah.
But their policy, public explanation is, okay, I'm helping the employees. But how do they help the employee when you can earn $10 an hour, but you can't work?
But to be honest, in this case, like, as for the government, I think it is true to do like that because they have to control everything, right? No, not only for the startup. Sometimes the law have to be stable and have to be equal to all the people.
They make laws for average people.
Yeah, everyone, mostly.
Not
majority, not for the minority, right?
Yeah.
So of course the government is true for this one.
Yeah.
I agree because if sometimes I feel like, okay, if I were you or if I were someone, I will act the same way like this. I agree with this, but for example, for the startup, as you mentioned, like for the startup, we have to see the old history of the startup, how they become. But maybe they didn't reach to the minimum wage. But even the government stop, not by, purposely and not by enforce, I think everyone can go like that way. So sometimes for the entrepreneur or startup or whatever businessman, they have to be flexible in every case.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they have to be agreement and flexible, and because as I'm a Myanmar citizen, we have to be have a lot of difficulties. So we have to be flexible in every case. So I think adaptation is also most important in this case. This one.
So okay, I would take the benefit of the doubt to the government,
Sure.
and then assume the intentions are true, which is to stop people from being exploiting other employees.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So what about? I mean, wouldn't that be better policy if they say minimum wage should be proportional to the income of the company? Right. So because as Microsoft is getting billions of dollars profit, and they charging $20 an hour to somebody, if a startup has zero income, it should reflect the income, how much they can pay, because that don't make sense, right? You cannot pay what you don't have, right? So if I put it the other way, if the minimum wage for zero income company is $20, for Microsoft, it should be like $200 an hour. Why should Microsoft pay the same $20 an hour as a startup who doesn't have any money?
Actually, I don't agree with this.
Okay. Explain.
Because right now I'm not startup, so sorry. But actually,
sure,
my recognition is
it gonna lessen your bottom line. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make big company pay more.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm just saying the unfairness of equal amount of minimum wage for income with zero and people who have money.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So for you, say if Microsoft had to pay $20 an hour, the startup should pay nothing because it's zero income, right? Whatever agreement, or whatever agreement, not zero. Say if it is $5, $10, it should be available for them to do that, not have the same standard as a big company who making billions of dollars.
Yeah. Actually, for this case, I will give you one example. Okay, so Microsoft get some billions of dollars per year, so they have to pay more extra. Okay, in 2025, Microsoft will get profits like billions of dollars, maybe, but maybe in 2026 he will be bankrupt.
Yeah, then
we can see.
Then they pay proportionally. That's the point.
But at the time, the world looks the same. Everything is the same. The world look, everything.
Yeah, sure.
Everything, responsibility, and maybe more responsibility, more and more responsibility, because they have to save the company. They have to put more effort. But at the time, you will get zero or you will get minus. I think it is not so reasonable for the staff to receive like this. And actually they put more effort at the time. So I think of course, all the wages and everything, all the rules in this human society is not so 100% good for everyone, but I think still mostly majority is useful. I think that
majority employee useful, but only big company can employ with that policy, because startup now cannot afford to have employees, so then they can grow or compete with the big company. So it's almost like the effect is there to keep the small guy from becoming big.
Yeah, sure.
But publicly they just say, it's for the employees. Actually, I'll give you another example. So copyright law, right? Copyright and intellectual property. Okay, so you're a startup, you come up with a brand new idea, you patent it.
Yeah, sure.
Cost you money, but the patent only cover one country. To patent internationally, you have international patent and you have a patent for different country, each one.
Sure.
All these costs combined could be more than $100,000 US or more, right?
More than your company.
Maybe, exactly.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so that's already one gatekeeping, right? But if you're Microsoft, you can actually do it easily.
Yeah.
That's fine.
With one snap.
Right.
Yeah.
Then, you somehow fortunately find that 100K, you put the money, you protect everything. Microsoft steal your idea. Now you need to go to court. That's another millions of dollars of worth of money that you spend to even fight. There's no automated saying, this is registered copyright, you got to take it down. There's no such thing. So you need to go fight. So first you need a lot of money to protect your idea. And second, you need a lot of money to fight the idea.
Yeah.
Both of them can only be done by big companies.
Okay. Yeah.
So copyright and intellectual property, so you can do all that, but I'm just gonna take the market. I want to be the first to the market, right? If a lot of people use it, I'm the first. I don't need to actually protect the idea. But when your idea becomes popular, big company can see it. They can take your idea and they can protect it because they have all the fun.
Yeah.
And then they can sue you because they have all the fun to stop you from doing your business. So it's similar to minimum wage. All these safety feature that they say they protect the people are actually there to stop the startup from becoming big and competing with the big guys.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because we need to look at the real world practicality, right?
Sure.
Is how practical it is to protect the idea, how practical it is to go after it, somebody steal it. And those two things can only be done by big companies. So a big company can protect an idea that is copied from another person because the other person don't have the fund to copy, protect it. Because now I think most countries are going toward the first to register, not the first to create now. Before there's the first to create as a protection. Now whoever registers first is the owner. So that basically means anybody who has the money can be the owner.
Yeah,
you don't need to be creative genius to come up with that idea. You know? Yeah.
Actually, I think for this case, if the court and if the law is fair enough, if you can prove like this is your own idea.
Yeah, but you need money for that.
Yeah.
You can even start without money.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And especially people who are the victim of copyright theft are people who don't have money usually, right? Because they just starting out. They just got the new idea, right? So I don't know if you heard of that movie, A Flash of Genius. So in that movie, it's about the story of this guy who came up with a wiper for the car.
Car wipers.
Yeah. So actually, he didn't come up with a wiper, but he came up with like the 5-second delay between the wiper. That's his invention, right? So he went to sue, I think, Ford and other companies, and then they just took the idea and run with it. And then it took him 20 years to get the money back. And the money damage, he got like that $2 million or something. There's nothing. So all the time you wasted, right, to follow, and even the even like a conflict in the family, right? Because he was like so super focused on trying to get his idea back. Yeah. So even if you put in inflation and all that time he lost, when he got it, it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. Even for the Ford is $2 million is nothing.
Nothing. They already make millions of dollars back.
You already made it from this idea. Yeah, sure. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like most of the laws and policies are made there as a gatekeeping for the small guys to come up big.
Make the rich to be richer.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a given. I mean that's part of life. Life is unfair. That's fine. But I'm just saying policies are not natural, so it's man-made policies.
Yeah, sure.
And it's almost like all the government that they're trying to make a big company the status quo to stay the same.
You know why? Because they get a lot of tax from the big company.
I disagree because many big companies they pay zero tax.
Yeah.
They don't get anything. They get the most tax from the employees.
Especially CEO didn't pay, but I think for the company they get a tax.
No, there are so many accounting tricks, legal accounting tricks that you can use, which we don't have access to because we don't have enough money to pay the accountants.
Okay.
You can do it. Yeah. So most of the income they get is from employees, because most of the company can go up to 50% tax from normal. So I think I got to look it up, but there's like a pyramid of who pay the most tax and where the most tax percentage come from is the bottom 20-30%. And if you go up higher and higher, you pay less and less tax, even though you're getting more and more.
Okay.
Yeah, and the big company like Facebook, Google, Microsoft pay virtually zero tax because there's so many accounting tricks you can use. I would say trick
legally.
It's a legal tricks. Well, because you can label anything.
Yeah, sure.
Right? It's all labeling basically.
You can hire experts.
Yeah. So it's not even the tax thing. So
yeah, sure.
I don't know what but there is something going on.
Maybe but we don't get this answer for this.
But interesting for a startup because I want to get the startup to know all these issues before they starting up.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because they can just look at Silicon Valley TV series and have a dream. Let's say, okay, if you have an idea, and then if you have enough grit, you can make it. Now, there's so many gatekeepers and so many status quo. They're gonna prevent you from getting there.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah.